Pope Francis, 1936 to 2025. The Pope with a Gentle Heart. Once upon a sweltering December day in Buenos Aires, Argentina, a city where old streets still echo the melodies of romantic tango, a boy was born. His name was Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the son of a poor but loving Italian immigrant family. His father was a railway worker, his mother a diligent homemaker. He grew up amidst the aroma of home-cooked meals, the warmth of toasted bread, and the quiet glow of evening prayers shared with family. Jorge was not a loud child. He often stayed silent, observing, reading, and feeling deeply. One day, upon seeing a beggar being driven away, he quietly saved his lunch bread and brought it to the old man. No one taught him that. It came from within. But Jorge's youth wasn't without ordinary dreams. He had a girlfriend once. He dreamed of becoming a chemical engineer. Everything changed at the age of 21 when a serious lung infection nearly took his life, leaving him with only one lung. But during that time in the hospital, he began contemplating the meaning of life. And then, he chose the path of priesthood, not out of fear, but out of love. He joined the Jesuits, a religious order known for strict discipline and intellectual depth. Though demanding, Jorge was never distant. On the contrary, he was often found among the most forgotten, inside prisons, in slums, or sitting with the lonely elderly. Years later, as the Archbishop of Buenos Aires, he still took the bus to work, lived in a small apartment, and cooked his own meals. No one called him Your Excellency. Everyone called him Father Jorge. A leader, but one who led to serve. Not for fame, but for love, quiet, enduring love. Pope Francis, the Unexpected Shepherd. March 2013. The skies over Vatican City turned a somber gray. The world watched the Sistine Chapel, where 115 cardinals gathered in conclave to choose the next pope, after Benedict XVI became the first to resign in nearly 600 years. Among them sat Jorge Mario Bergoglio, Archbishop of Buenos Aires. He wasn't prominent. He wasn't from the power circles. Many believed he was too old to be chosen. But perhaps it was precisely his humility and indifference to power that made him an unexpected choice. On March 13, 2013, white smoke rose. Bells rang. The world waited to hear the name of the new pope. And then, a name echoed through St. Peter's Square. Jorge Mario Bergoglio has chosen the name Francis. The world was stunned. When the balcony doors opened, it wasn't a pope in golden robes who emerged, but a simple man in a plain white cassock. He stood there, not speaking right away, but bowed his head before the crowd and softly said, "Dear brothers and sisters, before I give you my blessing, I ask that you pray for me." A moment that brought millions to tears. The name Francis was no accident. It honored Saint Francis of Assisi, the patron of the poor, peace, and nature. From that first moment, he sent a clear message: this would be a pope not of power, but of service. Not here to rule, but to love. And so he did. Pope Francis didn't come to stand above the people, but to kneel and wash their feet. Mercy, the legacy of a heart that bent low. From his very first days as Pope, Francis began changing how the world saw the Catholic Church. He didn't sit on a golden throne, he visited refugee camps. He didn't preach only with words, but with small, soul-stirring acts, washing the feet of prisoners, embracing the disfigured in St. Peter's Square, or sitting beside the elderly in nursing homes. For him, holiness didn't lie in elaborate rituals, it lay in whether we could listen to the suffering. He once said, "The church should be like a field hospital after battle, healing wounds, not judging souls." And true to his word, in a world torn by anger and division, he chose the path of mercy, not because it was easy, but because it was what the world needed most. He wasn't afraid to speak on topics once seen as taboo: homosexuality, divorce, atheism. But he didn't come to argue. He came to say, You are still loved by God. Through his encyclical Laudato Si, he called on humanity to care for our common home, the earth, as an act of mutual love. He wasn't just a pope for Catholics. He was a spiritual father for anyone seeking comfort. Perhaps it was that humility, not power, that made him the pope who touched millions. And as his story comes to a close, what we remember is not his titles, but a heart that bent low to lift others up. The leader who bent low and now rests in love. The day finally came. After years of tireless devotion to humanity, with a humble heart, open hands, and eyes that listened, Pope Francis passed away peacefully. The spiritual father of millions departed this world just as he had lived, quietly, humbly, without grandeur. No golden throne, no grand fanfare, only sincere prayers rising from every corner of the globe. From the slums of Buenos Aires to the ancient chapels of the Vatican. From the homeless on the streets to world leaders. All bowed their heads, not just for a pope, but for a friend, a father, a beacon of compassion. He is remembered not for his title, but for how he served. He bent low to lift others up. He listened to heal hidden wounds. He forgave because he believed love was always greater than any sin. His name may be written in history, but his heart lives on in the memory of the world. And today, as the church bells toll in farewell, we do not say goodbye, but thank you. Thank you for a life wholly given to others. Pope Francis, may you rest in the arms of God. Your legacy of love will live forever.